Welcome to the Coffee Pod mini-series of podcasts. This is the AI for Science and Government edition. In here, we want to focus on the people behind the projects and get to know them and their story. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Coffee Pod. And I'm very happy to have here someone that I've known before but actually knows me, not from the Turing. We are here with Domenic DiFrancesco.
That's it.
So welcome.
Thank you.
My first question to everyone that joins and listens to the Coffee Pod is very simple. How do you take your coffee?
I have my coffee without milk and one sweetener.
Okay.
And that's what I've prepared myself here. So.
Yes, that's good. I can see that you have a coffee, so that's great. That's almost black coffee.
Yeah,
that's great.
Pretty much.
That's a good one. So tell us, Dom, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? How did you get here? Where did you study? All of those things.
Yeah, sure. So I'm in ASG now, researching digital twins and data-centric engineering. But I'm not a statistician or a computer scientist. I'm a more traditional engineer. I did my undergraduate degree a long time ago now in mechanical engineering. And then I worked for like 5 or 6 years in the energy industry. And then did a PhD and then came here. And that's when I became interested in kind of computational statistics.
Have you always lived in the UK?
I've always lived in the UK. Yeah, I've got an Italian surname because my dad's family are still living in Italy.
But that's cool. Did you always live around London and Cambridge? Is this?
No, I've been here with my wife now in Cambridge for, I guess, around 4 or 5 years before I started the PhD. But I grew up in Lancashire and then East Sussex and then went to university in Durham.
Yeah.
So all over, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's all over England. You've had a bit of a taste of everywhere.
Yeah.
So how come are you now interested? Because you're more, as you said, more a classical engineer, so like a mechanical engineer. How come did you now find yourself doing more of the statistical and the computational part of things?
I find the topic really interesting. I think when you're working as an engineer, and this is part of the challenge of introducing new methods to engineering, you're just so busy about keeping things running, and there's a bit of a reluctance to trying anything drastically new because, as the saying goes, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. And there's some merit to that. Things aren't falling down. You don't have too much scope to introduce completely new methods. But when you do a PhD, you can explore them, to your heart's content. And it was actually very useful to look at some of the challenges I encountered in my work and think about how could I solve these a bit better using some of the software tools that are freely available now. So that's where I focused my research on.
So your PhD was more on the software side of things? It
ended up being about Bayesian data analysis in the context of structural integrity management. So yeah, I was finding challenges and looking at how we solve them in industry and then trying to do a direct comparison to how you'd solve them with some better uncertainty quantification and trying to quantify the benefits of doing things properly.
And now you're at the Turing, where I suppose you kind of not do a lot of engineering part and you're more on the simulation part because you're doing digital twins. How was this transition for you to now have more of a theoretical?
So I'm quite lucky. I hope this applies to other researchers, but I have quite a lot of autonomy in my work and I do try and focus it on I do try and meet industry halfway rather than going too far off into the theoretical ether. So that the research can have a bit more impact. So I always try and relate it to problems that I know remain challenges to industry.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. And also, I guess, keeps you close to the work you've done before and everything, right? Like you do. Yeah,
I definitely see myself somewhere in between. I still speak to engineers and I speak to academics, and it would be cool if they were a bit closer together. And I'm trying to fill the middle ground.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated.
It definitely can be, yeah.
And how have you find your life here at the Turing?
Yeah, it's great. I joined during the COVID era, unfortunately, so I had a remote onboarding. But then shortly after, they read the office and it looks fantastic. And I love coming into work here. It looks great and there's always someone to chat to. And it's been brilliant.
And you've managed to try the coffee at
And the
machines.
coffee's great, yeah. I've shown people the incredible machines we have here for the coffee.
That's good. Do you think that if you went back to your past self, just going into undergrad, did you ever think you would end up doing the work that you do right now?
No. And that's never fair, really, because I'm coming with knowledge I couldn't have had at the time. But yeah, I've thought about this a lot, and I had next to no statistics in my degree, and hopefully that's changed now. I see at Cambridge now the guys starting their PhDs have had some kind of, I think they call it information engineering, but they're more prepared for the digital age than I was.
Yeah. And what would you tell to your past self? So imagine that you're talking to younger self. And I ask this in case there's someone listening that does actually have a background similar to yours. So what would you tell them if they wanted to steer their career in the direction that you are? I suppose you would tell them to study more statistics.
Yeah, I think there's one of the great things about our topic is that you can apply it kind of across so many different domains. But maybe not to worry too much about it, because I was able to work successfully in my area, and it was all good experience. And I wouldn't say I have any hard regrets, but it definitely would have been helpful to think more about uncertainty.
So to be more certain about uncertainty.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if that helps.
No, I just think you've had because as you said, you went from a classical engineering to just like a more theoretical side of it. As you said, you're still in the middle, but it's quite an interesting path that you've taken, because usually mechanical engineers tend to do the more actual engineering part of things rather than the rest. So besides engineering and besides the work that you do, what do you enjoy doing? What are your hobbies currently? What do you enjoy spending your time doing?
My big hobby has always been football. I've played that throughout my life.
I was going to ask, playing or watching or both?
Both. Through my PhD as well. And I'm just about becoming too old to play football now properly. So I still do friendly games, but yeah, I was struggling to run around for 90 minutes without pulling a muscle. So I decided to call it a day. I also do some data analysis for football as well, just as like a hobby. I've got a blog where I write some uncertainty quantification in football.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's good fun.
So when you're not doing work, you're doing a little bit of work.
Yeah, so if I'm not playing football, I might be watching football, and if I'm not watching football, I might be modelling football.
So yeah, people can tell that you like football.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
And also I was going to say, you're not too old to play. You can...
Yeah, so I still have friendly kickabouts, and just where I not endangering my body anymore. It was, just getting injured a bit too much. So
what do you analyse in your blog? Because that's actually a cool thing that you do. That you have like a side data analysis thing. So what do you look at and what do you show there?
So for example, there's one statistic that the football world have kind of adopted, which is a tough journey to go on. But pretty much major footballing broadcasters now refer to XG as a widely used term. And that's the expected goals of a shooting opportunity. And I wrote an article on describing the uncertainty in XG and using a multi-level Bayesian model, which I took from my work, to get player-specific XG as well as, for a team. And that kind of depressingly got a lot more attention online than any of my academic work. But maybe that's because I was writing it in a more jargon-free way.
Oh, I think also on the other hand, it's just because it's a more it's a more broad topic.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Unfortunately, you have far more people caring about football than
than engineering.
Yes, I think so. That's cool though.
My other hobby that's been taking a lot of my time last year is we got a puppy.
Yes.
And she turned 1 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday!
So that was good fun. Yeah.
When the episode comes out, she's going to be 1 in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. But what's her name? Tell us.
She's called Ada, and I got that idea from our machine learning alphabet by our entrance. L is for Lovelace.
Oh, yeah.
And Ada Lovelace is, according to our mural,
That's such
maybe
a good
considered
name.
the world's first programmer. So that was the inspiration. She's not named after Ada Lovelace, but that was the inspiration, and we both liked the name.
No, it was really nice and surprisingly relevant to the audience of the Turing that is listening.
Yeah, they'll know more about Ada Lovelace than I do, but it's also the name of our pop.
And what are you thinking about doing next? What are your plans? Because now ASG is coming to an end. So are you going to stick around the Turing?
Yeah, I'm hoping to stick around. I think like a lot of us, I've got so many ideas of things to work on and methods to improve. It's just about finding the time and getting everything organized to do it. But I think there's a lot more to contribute in this area. And like I say, a personal aim of mine is to kind of take industry with us and make sure that some of these methods really get employed and we see the benefit of them in practice.
Maybe you can even have a bit of more of a serious project on your football passion.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of football data is getting made freely available now, so I like to just peruse it and think of any ideas for analysis. If something comes to me, I write a little article.
Just a casual Saturday afternoon, just looking at data, considering what to analyze next.
Well, I find it fun, I'm sure. A lot of people do. Yeah.
I think that our listeners, a lot of them would find this fun, yes. Where can people find your blog?
It's called allyourbayes.com. Bayes is in Thomas Bayes, Bayesian statistics.
Yeah. Okay, so people can find you there and can just read your analysis and give you more clicks than your academic analysis.
Yeah, make that even more of a depressing ratio. And any ideas for more work as well.
No, this has been really great. Thank you so much for joining
problem.
For having this chat with me.
Yeah, it's been good.
Telling us a little bit about yourself. And all the best of luck to your research, your blog, and most of all your puppy, because I think that's what
most importantly.
Yes. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Coffee Pod.
I'm your host, V. Costa Gomes, and the episodes are produced by Luca Lane. This is a collaboration with ASG, with a shout out to Zainab Ismail and Achintia Rao.
Our music has been produced by Spider Z Vinyl.